Hey guys, welcome back to my homestead. This is Amanda Rogers, and I've got to talk about something in my last video that's been bugging me. I did not have a really good attitude about growing things in a bucket. I was taking it as I was sad about it, and instead of learning from it. I've never had a bucket garden before. I've always had an in-ground or raised bed garden. And, instead of looking at it as sad, poor me, which is stupid, I need to look at it as, hey, look, there's not a lot of people that can have gardens. Some people live in the city and they only can do container gardening. Some people have only decks. And like I said, container gardening only. Some people aren't allowed to have big gardens. And so buckets or whatever they have around the house is going to have to work. So I took a few days and I really sat on this and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Let's learn from this together. I have not done container gardening, so whatever I'm doing this time is going to be a learning experience. I could be doing it all wrong. I could be doing it completely different. I could be doing it another way. But this year, I'm going to try it out. It doesn't hurt to fail. If you fail, that just means you learn what not to do next time. So let's go over some of the things that I'm going to do. I have this backyard here, and I have this really crappy deck that I need to clean up. I've put my some of my houseplants in there, but these are some air conditioners that went bad last year that I need to move. That trash can's going to my son's house because they're moving this weekend. The dolly is what we use to move into my washer and dryer because, yay, after 4 years, we finally have a washer and dryer. So we've got junk under the porch, too, like everybody else does. This is an old cooler that we were going to throw away, but I may repurpose next year for a cat house for my cats because it's insulated. So I do have some cheap welded wire on the top. That's to keep my pups from jumping off the porch when they're outside. And then I grabbed some cattle panels that I have here. 2 different pieces that are bent up, that are kind of not, they're wonky. They're not perfect. They're great. They're perfect. Perfect for what I'm going to do. I have some pole beans and some cucumbers that I'm going to plant, one on each side, 1 cucumber, 1 pole beans. And it doesn't get lots of sun here, which is fine. It gets morning sun and afternoon sun. After hours, it goes to more of a cool down, which is great because here in Oklahoma, you have a lot of nasty humidity and heat. And if my plants can take a break from the humidity, maybe it'll do them better. Maybe I'll have them longer than if they were in the complete sun all the time. So let's get started. Oh, and I just have a tiny shovel today because I guess my son borrowed my shovel and it's not back here. So I've got this wonderful mini shovel here that I'm going to use to put my bush beans and my cucumbers in. What I need to do is I need to remove the grass from around this fencing, so it'll make it easier so my husband doesn't have to weed eat around it. That's what I'm going to do right now. I'll be back in a second. Now the weeds are gone, so my husband won't weed eat them. There's weeds behind there, but I'll take care of that. I'll pull them out, or I have a little hoe that I can get them out with. But for now, this is good. Let's go ahead and put my plants in. So I put the green beans, Kentucky Wonders over there, and I put the burpless cucumbers right there. Hopefully I'm going to train them to grow up this thing. And I'll be able to pull fruit and food off my back porch. That'll be exciting. They do both say full sun, but I'm hoping here in Oklahoma they may be okay. Like I said, I am learning this year and how to do things differently. So, and use what I have. Let's go talk about my other plants. I bought potting soil for these buckets. And I put 2 tomato plants in each one. They're supposed to be 2 to 3 feet apart, but I'm going to keep them trimmed up and on a trellis or on a stick. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm thinking about doing a trellis because then I can brace up their arms and stuff. In this bed, I have Sweet 100. This is a cherry tomato plant. This one is also a cherry tomato plant. It just says cherry tomato. It says organic. And in this one right here, I have 2 not full grown, but large tomatoes. I have a mortgage lifter And then I also have Ozark pink tomato, which are another organic one. So we're going to see how these do. Those are going to be on trellises too. This right here in this 5-gallon bucket that I got from my husband's work, Lock Supply, is a mammoth jalapeno. And then we have yellow bell peppers, red bell peppers, and green bell peppers. And let's show you how I did this. Okay, so my husband came home and cut these down like I asked, and then I don't normally put a block in there, but I did on this one because I'm out of small pieces of wood. But I put wood in here, except for this one because it's not that deep. So this will be fine. But this is so I don't have to put as much dirt into it in order for my plants to grow. And these will break down, besides the brick, they'll break down and turn into compost anyways after a long time. But they'll still do it. So, and so I get that in before it turns completely dark. Oh, my husband did cut my cattle panels for me. And they're being held up with wire. So I can attach my tomatoes to the end of this. And we'll have food. I didn't quite think the placement very good. I was thinking that was going to be able to drip in my tomato plants and water them for me. But then I realized my tomato plants are going to be quite a bit bigger. So let's get done. It's pretty dark out here. Well, it's getting dark out here. I finished it. Yes, my tomato plants are kind of close, like I said before. That'll be okay because I'll be able to keep them all nice and trimmed up and cleaned up so they grow without being, you know, crazy, cluttered and crunched together. Except for my Brandywine. She's all by herself. She's my favorite tomato. I love the taste of her. So she's by herself. Everything else is up. All the trellises things are up for my tomatoes. Those are over there. And I even have 2 half buckets left. They don't have bottoms, but I do have plastic I could stick in the bottom and put dirt in if I want to. And I have 1 bag of potting soil left. 1 bag. And I got this for $3 at my local co-op. I bought a total of 14 bags and only used 13. Lucky number 13. I like 13. So this is it. Let's just learn together about how to grow in buckets in container gardening. And I recycled everything. I gotta take my trash back and pick up my wire. But that's all I'm gonna have this year is tomatoes, peppers, bell peppers, beans and pole beans, and yeah, cucumbers. I may expand it next year, but this year, this is it. This is what we mainly eat anyways. The rest is just stuff that we will eat occasionally. Thank you for watching this episode of the Rogers Backyard Homestead. Until next time, have a great evening.